Welcome back to the programme. Well, for the first time in more than 60 years, there'll be no Eurovision Song Contest, a disappointment to millions of people around the world. This year's grand finale was scheduled to take place in Rotterdam on Saturday night, but it's been cancelled due to the pandemic crisis. Instead, fans around the world have still been able to vote for their favourite artists, and the contest has been replaced by a virtual event called Eurovision Europe Shine a Light. That's being broadcast live. The event will highlight all 41 songs from 2020 and include special performances from popular artists from Eurovision's past. Well, I'm joined now by one of those stars, singer-songwriter Johnny Logan, who won the Eurovision Song Contest twice in 1980 and 1987. Oh, thanks for taking time to speak to us. Oh, 3 times here, you're correcting us here. We're wondering when that... Indeed. Well, tell us about that third time, in fact, because I've received some questions here.
Well,
and
the
people
third
have been...
time, I wrote the song in '92 that won in Malmö. I wrote the song in Malmö in '92 in Sweden that won the Eurovision. So I consider, it's a singer-songwriter contest. I consider it my set. I won it in 1980 with What's Another Year, in '87 with Hold Me Now, and then again in '92 as the writer. I wrote Hold Me Now as well in '87. But I got the set, singing somebody else's song, singing my own song, and then somebody else singing one of my songs.
Well, I'm going to put your 3 songs on our producer's iPod to make sure that they hear them until the end of the day. But tell me, I've received some questions here, and some people have asked me, that must have been, were those the highlights of your life, to winning those, lifting the trophy, as it were?
No, I'm not quite sure that the highlights. There were certainly some of the highlights of my life. I'm lucky enough to have been a musician since I was a professional musician since I was 18 years old. I'm now 66, so those were 3 wonderful years, and they opened a lot of doors. Unfortunately, sometimes they can close an awful lot of doors, but I worked very hard, and I think winning the song contest 3 times helped a lot more than winning it just once. Who's that young boy singing, by the way?
Certainly, yeah, certainly looks like you. I can see the resemblance for sure. Well, you became a household name not only across the UK but across Europe because of your successes. You're taking part, of course, in this year's competition. What can viewers expect?
Well, I recorded a couple of weeks ago. I recorded What's Another Year in the studio in Ireland, in the Irish television studio. And I recorded 2 versions of it. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to show me performing it live, and then people are going to join in from all over Europe.
Okay. Now, you mentioned...
It should be very nice.
I'd imagine it will be. I certainly will be watching. Now, one question I wanted to ask you is, as you pointed out earlier, you wrote that winning song in 1992. So what is the secret to successful songwriting, especially in this competition?
In this competition, get a lot of 12s, Togs. I never wrote a song to win the Eurovision. I just tried to write the best songs I could. And then I adapted them for the Eurovision, for working with the orchestras. And the songs were originally 5-6 minutes long, and the Eurovision will only allow you 3 minutes. So particularly with Hold Me Now, which was the second one, when I was rehearsing it, I remember we did it. It was 3 minutes, 3 seconds, that was the length of it. And they made me rehearse it until it was 2 minutes, 58 seconds with the orchestra.
Well, I know all about rehearsing lines, that's for sure. But, tell me, right now in this pandemic, so many people can't go out. Perhaps you can only express yourself singing in a shower. How important do you think it is that, the event is still going on?
I think it's wonderful that they've managed to put something in place of it, in place of the actual contest. But and I'm very, very honoured to have been asked to sing What's Another Year and for people to join in. I must say this: I'm very disappointed for the people behind the organisation in Dutch television and for the EBU. But particularly, I'm disappointed for the artists that won't get a chance to perform. And I would love to see them all get a second bite of the cherry next year. But God only knows what's going to happen. But I think it's the Eurovision Song Contest is one of the few middle of the road contests that actually the whole of Europe come together to watch. And it's not just about the music; it's about the fun, the parties, the bad songs as well as the good songs, and there's enough of those as well, I'm afraid. But I think it's just a celebration. It's like going to a pride or going to a, like going to a festival which you really enjoy. And some people wait for it all year, and bless their hearts. They're going to be very, very disappointed. But hopefully next year it can all happen again. It really needs the atmosphere of all the people and everything else in the stadium to make this work.
I could speak to you all day, Johnny Logan, but I'm afraid that's all we have time for. A
And I can
triple
speak
winner.
to you too, Tugs.
Triple winner of the Eurovision Song Contest. Thanks for taking time to speak to us here on the programme.